Hi guys, good evening. Thank you so much for joining today. Today's webinar will be led by Harsh Kumar Singh. Harsh is an undergraduate student studying energy engineering at one of the world's most competitive schools, IIT Delhi, with an acceptance rate of around 0.2%. It is insanely difficult to crack. And for that, Harsh had to master time management, productivity, efficiency, and today is what I hope will be an insanely insightful session you guys. In the chat, if we could keep it to English, please. Otherwise, I will have to disable chat. And Harsh, if you're ready, we can take it away.
Thank you, Gimna, for that wonderful welcome. Today's session we will cover the uh, time management with different aspects. The three aspects we will cover in this session. We will start with the self-analysis of yourself, in which you will be doing it by some activities. Then we will look at some methods to attain efficiency and become more productive. And then towards the end of the session, we will see the benefits that we get after practicing it. So starting with the first part, in the first part, we have an activity which I'm just going to explain. I hope all of you have a pen and paper with you or something else to note down the things. In this activity, what you have to do, you have to make a list of all the necessary and productive things that you do in a day in general. And in this, you do not have to write those things which you think are unproductive or which you think are not necessary for your daily life. In this, you have to write only those things which are necessary, and you need not share that list with me, but you have to write it on a paper and make sure you do it because it will be required in the next activity. I request you all to do it. I will give you a minute to do so. And once you are done, you can write it in the chat box that you have done it, and then we will continue with the next activity. I hope it is clear to all of you what you have to do. In case of any doubt, you can ask in the chat.
Guys, we really want chat to remain open for this whole session. So please chat in English. Otherwise, I will have to move it to just hosts. If you guys are done with the task given on the slide, please, if you could give a thumbs up or put done in chat, then that would be
Yeah, so some of you have done it, and I hope all of you might have done. Yeah, so since I have got so many guns, I will move on with the next part. So now what you have to do based on this activity that you just did, you have to make a pie chart. In case you don't know how a pie chart looks like, you can look on the screen in which you have to make sectors based on the time that you give in these particular activities. You have to make the pie chart and the sectors in proportion to the time you give to an activity. For example, if you go to school and you spend around 6 hours there, so 6 hours is around one fourth of 24 hours which you get in a day. So you have to shade one fourth part of your pie chart, and then you have to leave another. Yeah, so a very good question by Mehdi. I will explain that. It doesn't require to be a certain number of sections. It depends on how many tasks you have written. Like if you have written 6 tasks, then you can make 6 sections in the pie chart, and then you can leave a seventh section blank, and that will be for the time that you have not counted for, because I'm sure you will not have counted for whole 24 hours of your day, because there might be a lot of unproductive things that you do. So you have to make the sections equal to the number of tasks that you wrote in the previous task, and then you have to make them proportion to the time that you spend in them. For example, if you spend 12 hours a task, then make half pie chart going to that particular task. Okay. I hope Maddie your doubt is clear now. And then keep another sector open for the things that you do not have any, that you don't have anything written about right now, which you don't have any idea where you spend your time. Just like the previous task, this might take a more time, so you can write done or you can show a thumbs up when you are done.
Harsh, while they're doing that, can you disable annotations, please?
Okay. I hope this is done now.
Yeah, it should have been. For the subtitles, if someone can request subtitles, then I can allow that. Zoom has limitations, so if you could just check if there's a request subtitles option, or in the captions, if you could request it, then I'll allow it. As you're done, just let's have a few more dones in the chat and we can move forward. Or thumbs ups also work. But you want to give them another 30 seconds or we can move on? We have a lot of dones in chat.
Yeah. Okay. Even if not my voice clear, shall I use a wired earphone in that case?
Yeah, let's try that.
Yeah, okay. Uh, can you observe any change in the voice? Is there any change?
It's similar, it's a bit better. Guys, one of you all should have an option of closed caption down where there's like chat, share screen, participants. If you can press closed caption or caption, then I can allow that. Without which I am unable to allow it. So if someone could request that, please. And yeah, Harsh, we can move on. Harsh. We can't hear you, Harsh. Can you repeat? We can't hear you. Just take out the headphones, yeah. Try speaking.
Am I audible now?
Harsh, it's damn this headphones निकाल दे. निकाल दिए. Let's go ahead. Harsh, can you hear me?
No, I'm audible now. You are audible. Yeah, you are audible now.
Say one more line. I think towards the end you were.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible now. Perfect. Chal, let's move on.
Yeah. I hope everyone must have done this task very well now that you got so much time. Now what I want you to do in this task is that since you have made the pie chart, now I want you to analyze how many hours you could not account for in the pie chart. For example, you might have made the pie chart for around 16 hours, or someone might have made it for 20 hours. So he or she might not have been able to make it for 8 hours and 4 hours respectively. So I want you to find that amount of time for which you cannot account in the pie chart, and I want you to write that number in the chat box. Suppose you were able to make the pie chart for 18 hours, so you could not make it for 6 hours, and I want you to write that number in the chat box. All of you, please do that.
Guys, so let's have some answers in chat about all the hours that were unaccounted. So you made your pie chart for 20 hours. So yeah, we can have 5, 6 more answers, please. We can move on to the next thing. Let's keep this
Yeah,
interactive.
yeah. And do not count for sleep. You need not count for sleep. Sleep is a productive thing that you do, provided you sleep for a certain number of hours and not for the whole day.
Let's go on. Let's have 3 or 4 more answers in chat at least. There are 61 of us on this call.
Eight hours.
Go on, let's have one more.
8 hours. Okay, so I will continue now. So the answer is ranging. Someone said 8 hours, another person also said 8 hours. For someone, it's only 2 hours, and for one more, it's around 6 hours. And for I know for most of the people, it will range in around 4 to 8 hours in most of the cases. So what happens is that this is the time which is something that you need to work upon, because everyone has got 24 hours in a day, and you need to and to make things better for you, you need to create that at 25th hour, and you cannot create that out in the clock. You have to find that 25th hour in this particular from this particular chunk of time that you just got. Okay, so in this, what you have need to analyze is that, see, for example, you are in a class, there are 100 students, and now all of them might be doing the same thing for around 16 or 18 hours a day, and that will lead them to similar results. But what differentiates the best performing student from the those who perform average is how they use this amount of time. You might think that I might be asking you to use this time to do all the productive things. That is not something that I ask. You will not keep on doing productive things for all 24 hours of your day. But what you need to make sure is, for this time that you cannot account for right now, you need to analyze this time, and you need to make sure, but you need to know by yourself what you are doing in this time, and then you should analyze if this is necessary for your goals or not. Now, for the next task, what you need to do, you just write on that particular sheet of paper the task which you think you do in these 6 hours or 8 hours. For example, for someone it might be watching a series on Netflix. For someone it might be just scrolling through the Instagram feed. I want you to just write those things on a paper, like where you think you spend this amount of time. You might not be sure, but you can make a guess and just write. And then I won't give much time for this because it is a very easy task. I just want you to write it on the paper. So I hope you all might have written some things, because these are not many things in which we utilize this time. There, most of them are similar to each and every person. For example, for someone it might be Netflix, for other person it might be just Instagram. Because most of our time we spend is on social media that we cannot account. But you need to know this very well, where you are spending your time when you have some important goals to achieve in life. Now, now that you have done a self-analysis, and then you have seen how much time you spend on the unproductive things or the things that you shall not spend it on, now we will have a look at the some of the methods by which you can attain efficiency and you can improve your time management and increase your productivity. So one of the very famous techniques which we see while we look at productivity and time management is the Pomodoro technique, and I hope most of you might have heard about it. In case you have heard about it, just make a thumbs up or write it in the chat box, and then I will explain. So Maddie has heard about it. Is there anyone else who knows about this? Lela works with this. Very great, Leila. Yeah, so this is a very common thing which I think all of you might know, but for those who don't know, I will explain this. Yeah, I like that so many of you are using it already. This is a very good sign. What happens in this technique that this is based on uh, do and break thing. Like for example, if you have to do a task, what you need to do is that you shall break it in chunks and then you shall work for around 25 minutes and then you shall take a break for 5 minutes, and that will give your time for your brain to refresh and energize so that you can perform better in the next 25 minutes. By doing this, what happens is that your brain doesn't get tired very easily and you can continue doing the same thing for long without getting bored and being efficient. Another version of Pomodoro says us to work for around 50 minutes and then take a 10-minute break. So that is the personal choice whether you want to work for 25 minutes or 50 minutes. So a very good comment by Monchilu. Sorry if I could not pronounce your name correctly. That Pomodoro technique is not working for you. So this is a technique which has been scientifically proven for many people, but it doesn't mean that it will work for each and every person. If this doesn't work for you, what you can do is the other techniques that we are going to discuss further in the meet. And it might be the case for any other person too that this might not work because there might be some people who want to do all of their work in one go and then take a rest. So it is up to you whether you want to use it or not and in which sort of format you want to use it. And for Monsoon, if it is not working for you continuously, what you can do is rather than doing it for 25 minutes or 50 minutes, you can try maybe doing the work for around 1 hour 30 minutes and then taking a 10 minutes break or some large amount of time for work. You can try that and maybe it might work for you then. Now, after I hope all of you have understood this technique. If someone has any doubt in it, you can just write in the comment box, then I will explain it again, or I'm moving further to the next technique. So I hope it is clear. Now, what we see is that another most important thing which you can do for better time management is proper planning. Planning is very important in life. When you do not plan things, you will end up creating a mess, or you might not be able to give your 100%. And when you have properly planned all the things that you need to do and how you are going about it, then you will do it in a very good way. For example, suppose you have to go somewhere and you do not know the way. What you can do is like you can just move on the path and then find the way as you go, look at the signboards, and then you may try to reach the destination. It will take up a lot of time. But what you might do in some of the regions is that you can use Google Maps or some other app, and that is something by which you plan your journey, and it makes things easier for you. And what you can do in this is like you can when you have to do some task, you can write that on a paper, and then you can properly plan like in the order in which you need to do things and how much time are you going to devote to each and every task. About planning, I will like to share an example with you. Like in a study, there was a class. There were around 50 students there, and the instructor took up a pack of cards. I would have done this activity with you if we were in offline classroom, but in online I cannot. So I'm just explaining what happened in that class. So there was a pack of cards. It has 52 cards. So the instructor pulled out 50 cards in it and distributed one card to each and every student. Now the instructor gave two instructions. First thing is that you cannot show your card to anyone else. You have to hide your card. And the second thing is that you cannot tell anyone, any other person, which card do you have. Like you have to keep it a secret. You cannot either show, you cannot say which card you have. And now the task was to arrange yourself in the line of the type of card you have. Suppose you have got a card of spade, then you need to align yourself with all others who are having spade as their card, and you need to arrange yourself in an ascending order. For example, the joker will come before queen and the queen will come before king, and the line will start at the ace. So now that you know the instructions that I just told you, like you cannot show your card, you cannot tell others how which card is yours. So can anyone think of any way in which they could align themselves when they cannot say or they cannot show? Or how would they have aligned themselves in the class when they have these two rules? Can anyone think of any way of doing this?
Okay, guys, before we go ahead, Can anyone see the closed caption option beside the chat? Because I cannot enable it unless you request for it. So you'll have to request it from your Zoom. You cannot? Okay. I'll figure out what the issue is then, because I can't enable it unless someone requests from their Zoom account. Any caption button at all in your settings, anything? Okay, I'll have a look. Harsh, you can move on.
Yes. So, uh, you like please keep a look at chat, and if someone asks a question, you can tell me. I won't have a look at it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, done.
So moving forward, like as I just explained the task, I hope the rules were clear with you. The two rules were that you cannot show your card, and the second rule was that you cannot tell any other person which card do you have. So what happened is that the teacher asked, there were four teams made as there are four types of cards, and then all of them had to align themselves. The teacher asked all of them to do it as soon as possible, and the team which would do this in the least amount of time was the team that was going to win. And now when the competition started, they had no idea how to do it, and they just started moving here and there randomly. Some of them tried to cheat by saving the teacher's eye, by showing the card to their friends, and somehow they managed to do so, and they did it around 3 minutes. All of them were in their lines, and while doing so, all of them got a clear idea like how this task could have been done. They realized that they cannot speak, they cannot show, but what they can do is they can use gestures. For example, they can use their fingers to express which type of card they have got. For example, if they have got a heart, they could make that with their fingers, and if they have got a four, they can raise four fingers to tell that they have got a four. So this was not told to them by the teachers, but they figured it out on themselves while doing the task. And now, after this task was completed, the teacher asked to do this same experiment again with the same students. But now, this time, they all knew how to do it. So, before the task started, all of them were ready for it. They had a plan. Like, as soon as the teacher will distribute the card, they will start making gestures out of their fingers and they will start expressing the type of card. And what happened in the next experiment, you might be surprised to know that in the first experiment, all of them took around 3 minutes to align themselves. But in this part, in the second experiment, they did it in less than 1 minute. All of them were able to do it in less than 1 minute. And that was only because this time they knew how to do it. This time they had a plan on how to do it. And this time they had a algorithm on doing it. Okay. So once you know how to do something, you know how to make it, how to do it in the best possible way. So time is always saved by plan. And there might have been many stories which you might have heard in which planning might have saved time. So this is a very crucial aspect of time management that you can never save time if you don't have a very strong plan. So make sure you have a strong plan. And for the person who was having trouble with the Pomodoro, what you can try is you can improve yourself on the planning aspect, and then you will be able to do this. Okay. After this, the third thing that we are going to discuss after proper planning is the Eisenhower matrix. I think most of you might have heard about Pomodoro, but this is something which you might not have known because this is not that popular, but it is as useful as the Pomodoro technique. In this matrix, what happens is you list all your tasks which you have to do, and then you give them text. You give them text whether the task is urgent, whether it is not urgent, and then you give them tags on the basis of their importance. For example, some tasks might be important, some might not be important. And then based on these four things, you have to distribute all the tasks in these four columns. For example, you have to write things which are important as well as urgent. And then there are things which are important but not urgent. So for important and urgent things, what you need to do is that you shall do it at the earliest time possible. Like you shall not delay it. If something is very important, for example, you have an exam tomorrow, that is exam is important and you need to study. Okay, so I will try to improve my voice. So yeah, you have a task, you have an exam tomorrow, you that is important for you and that is also urgent for you to study. So what you shall do is you shall study right now and you shall not delay it. And suppose if there is something which is important for you but it is not urgent, for example, if there is an assignment to do which you have to submit after 5 days, let's say, and that is important, but you need not do it right now. What you can do is you can schedule it at a proper time when you will be able to do it in the best possible way. The third type of task is a task which is urgent and which is not important. What you shall do in this case, that you shall delegate this task. Well, it is called Eisenhower matrix because of the name of its inventor. It is because of that, the person who made it. And it is also called as Eisenhower decision matrix. So now let's see what I was explaining. I was asking you to delegate the things which are not important but urgent. In this, what you need in this category falls the task which you need to get done, but which do not require your expertise. For example, there might be some assignment or some work and that you need to do. And suppose you have a younger sibling who can help you in that. And you have a lot if you have a lot of tasks, what you can do is you can ask him or her for help. And in this way, you will be delegating the task and thus you will be saving on your time, which you can give to other tasks which are urgent to do and which are also important. And then we see the fourth type of task, and these are the tasks which waste most of our time. These are the things which are not important and which are also not urgent. What these things do is that they only distract us from our preferred course and from our goals. So what you need to do is, like, without any hesitation, you shall try your best to delete these tasks and avoid them as much as possible. Now, since you have all have written your task earlier in the session, I request you all to make a mini Eisenhower matrix and make 4 columns and distribute your task in this way. And once you are done, just tell me a thumbs up. And in case you have still any doubt in Eisenhower matrix, you can ask me, or you can just make it, and it will be a very good exercise for you. Since you had already written these tasks, it won't take more than a minute or two. So I will just wait for a minute. Just make a thumbs up when you have done this or made this Eisenhower matrix. Okay, so someone has done it, and I hope all others might have done it by now. I will wait for just a few more seconds, confirm others if you have done. Just one more done, and I will continue. Okay, so I hope all of you might have done. In case you have any doubt, you can ask right now. Okay, so these were the 3 techniques that we discussed. First was the Pomodoro. Then we discussed the importance of planning, and now we saw what is the Eisenhower matrix and which is not as popular as the Pomodoro. Now, towards the end of this meeting, what we will discuss is, like, we will see the benefits of time management. So yeah, most of you have done it, and that's really great. Before I tell you something about the benefits of time management, I would like to ask you what you think can benefit in the way if you properly manage your time. Can anyone write in the chat box, like, what do you think are the benefits of proper time management? Yeah, I'm getting some results. Write some more, then I will discuss all of them. All of you are very smart. You are giving some nice answers to the question that I was asked. Yeah, so I will discuss this. So first of all, what is the main benefit of managing your time properly is that you get less stress. And this is very important in life. When you are doing anything, if you properly plan for it, if you do it well in time, what happens is that you don't take much of stress about it. And it really helps in life. not just in the short run, but also in the long run. I have seen a lot of people preparing hard for their academics or from the activities that they are in, and they will be so hard on themselves, and they will not properly plan things. And at the end of the day, they all will be quite disappointed. If you do not plan things properly, then you will feel like that you are not doing things in the right way as you should do. And what will happen is that you will get a lot of stress, you will get anxiety, and this will lead to trouble in your mental health. Another thing which I see is increased productivity. Yes, that is a very obvious thing. If you properly manage your time, your productivity increases. And the more your productivity, the more closer you get to your goals. If you are doing just like delaying things gives you stress, and then it will affect your mental health in the bad way. If you are good at productivity, it will affect your mental health in the best possible way, because it will give you a sense of confidence. It will give you a confidence that you can do the thing that you are aiming at. So if you increase your productivity on a daily basis, it will lead to you get a high amount of confidence on the final task that you have. Yeah, it happens. Like if you do not plan things properly, if you do not do proper time management, you might end up missing a very important thing. Even I remember once when I was not very good at time management and I did not plan things properly, I missed quite a few important things. And in this fast moving world, when we have notifications come up on our phone at this more than at the speed of light, so what is important is that we need to know what we are doing and how we are going to do that. And if we do not have a very good plan, we will end up missing a lot of important things, and that will lead to a large loss in the long run. Organized day is something that you get when you manage your time properly, and when you just had an organized day, you will get a very nice sleep, and this chain will continue, and you will start on having better days every day when you wake up. Yeah, schema rules that being clear and not messy. So do the task with good quality. This happens. If you do not plan things well in time and you end up doing your work towards the last moment, what happens is like you will do it in quite a messy way. You won't be very clear with what you are doing. And you won't learn anything from the task that you are doing if you do that last moment. Because at that time, your only goal will be to complete it as soon as possible and meet the deadline. Whereas if you start well in advance, what will happen is you will do it with a calm mind. You won't have any stress. Whereas you will be clear on your goals and your learnings. You will be able to learn well. It is always more convenient as someone who, as it takes away all the stress that you might get. So this was the thing that I wanted to discuss with all of you. I discussed some benefits of time management. Before that, I discussed three techniques, and before that, I discussed the self-analysis. So now, if anyone of you have got any doubt, or if you have any personal doubt regarding time management, like you are not able to do something, you can write it. You can write it in the chat box, and I will try to answer it in the best possible way. Like if you face a particular problem with time management, or if you had problem in any of the techniques that we discussed, you can ask that.
So, Harsh, if they don't have doubts, are we done with the session or do you have something else planned?
Yeah, yeah. If they don't have doubt, then we are done.
Okay, guys, so if you don't have any other doubts, you can start leaving. But if anyone has any questions, you can raise your hand and I can let you speak. But if you don't have any doubts, I'll see you at 8 p.m. for the next session. Okay, I'm going to ask Sharon to unmute. And you can take it.
Hi, so I had a question. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, go
Yes, you
ahead.
are audible. Go ahead with the question.
So this is quite embarrassing to even say, but I tend to procrastinate or sit back on tasks which are very important for my career and everything, like studying and stuff like that. But that doesn't seem to be the case when I'm focusing more on like activities like this, summer sessions, extracurricular activities and stuff, which are also important, but not urgent like studying and other stuffs, right? So how do I get rid of that? Like I don't know,
Okay.
it has started very recently after during this COVID session that I tend to procrastinate a lot on all stuffs, but it's mostly based on studying and stuff, which requires a lot of mental stress and focus.
Okay. So I got your question, Sharon. That is a nice question, and while we had this lockdown things in the COVID and we had to sit at our homes, our efficiency changed in a very very bad way. Everyone got these sort of problems. So what you can do is, you just said that you tend to procrastinate things which are urgent and important. And as we just seen the Eisenhower matrix, what shall be your step towards it? Like, you shall try to make sure that you do those things first which are urgent and important. These things are also important. For example, this summer session which Yumna is organizing for you, and other things are also important for you. But if something is more important than you need to prioritize things. A very great person has said that if you have 10 things to do, you should write all of them on a paper, give them a priority, and then eliminate all the things apart from the top five things. So this is a very important thing in life. If you are at a young age, if you can practice this right now, you will be very successful in life. And this is the problem with everyone. They do not want to do things which are bound on them, which they need to do in the long run. Okay, so what you shall do is, you will try your best to eliminate all the other things. And you can reward yourself. For example, if you have something to do, for example, you have to do an assignment in, suppose, mathematics, and then you have another session to attend. What you can do is, you shall tell yourself that I will attend this session, and I will try to make sure that before this session starts, I will end up my math assignment, then only I will attend this session. And your interest in the math section will allow you to do your assignment very well. It will push you to do it. Okay, so what you shall do is, you can set rewards for yourself. And you, on one side, you shall put the task that you need to do, and on one side you shall put the task that you want to do. And while you are doing those tasks which you need to do, you shall put reward in form of the task that you want to do. And in this way, I think you will be able to do things in a better way. I hope your answer was clear. And the question, I see your hand raised.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Seema.
I want ask about something. I have I can say a little problem. I planned for my days and I put specific tasks to do, and I realized after the end of the day, I can't I see myself not completing all the tasks. I don't know what's the problem, and I'm not wasting my time at all.
Okay, I got your question, and that is a very common thing with almost each and every person. And I think when this happens, the problem that you face, you feel so much of disappointment in yourself, and you think that you wasted your day, even though you did not waste it. So, what is the best
Yes.
thing you can do in this case? I understand that. So, if you are doing 7 tasks and there are 24 hours, suppose you have 10 hours to do those tasks, you shall write the task only for 8 hours, and then you shall keep a buffer time of around 2 hours. Okay, so make sure you write tasks for only 8 hours, and then you keep a buffer time of 2 hours, and you should try to complete all of your tasks in those 8 hours. And if there is something that is left, you shall wrap things up in those particular hours that you kept for buffer. So try to insert a buffer time in your timetable, and then I am sure you will be able to do it very well. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I hope I answered your question. Okay, another question. If someone has, you can raise your hand.
Harsh, we have a couple of questions in chat.
Yeah,
I can
I
read.
will just see.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you can read them now.
Yeah.
You can read them
So,
now.
my biggest one was from ABZ. My biggest problem is having too many tasks and my day is too packed, and I end up feeling overwhelmed.
Okay, so who just asked this?
ABZ.
Okay. Okay, so that was a similar problem that I just answered to Seema. Like, when you have a lot of tasks, what will happen is that you won't be able to do all of them, and at the end of the day, you will feel so disappointed. Okay, so what you shall do is, like, you shall use Eisenhower matrix will be best for you, obviously, because you will be able to structure things which are important and urgent, and then which are not urgent. You can schedule those things for the latter part of your week, and for the day that you are just going ahead, you shall keep only those things which are important and urgent to do. You should try to keep as less tasks as you can. Okay, and then you shall also keep a buffer time, just as I advise to Seema. And then when you have kept that buffer time, you will be able to do all of your tasks. Don't try to do all the things in just one day. No one is a superman. No one cannot work for all 24 hours or all 18 hours that they decide to work on. So try to keep tasks as less as you can, try to schedule things towards the later part of the week or for some other days, and then you will be able to solve your problem. Okay, so I will, yeah, Ganga?
Yeah. The next question is, I think I'm losing the hours in the day doing nothing. How can I solve that?
Okay, that is a nice question. I even stated it in the session, like, you don't have 25 hours in a day. You have to create that 25th hours. And as you just mentioned that you think you are losing hours in the day, what you need to do is, like, you need to look at the paper if you did the activities properly that I just asked you to do. And in case you did not do them, you shall try to do those activities again. Yumna will share the recording or the PDF with you. And while you do those activities, try to find out where your time goes. You need to write it. If you write things like, I do this work for this amount of time, and then you are not able to account for the things, then what you can do, even if still you are not able to find where your time goes, the next day that you are going to have, make sure you record each and every hour of yourself. After every hour that you have waken up, keep a paper, or you can do it in your phone. Just write what all you did in that particular hour. You can give a rough idea, and then at the end of the day, analyze the total time that you spent in the day and all the things that you did. This way you will be able to understand where did your time go, and from the next day onwards, make sure you do not waste time in the things that you think are not important for you. Okay, I just saw a question which seems very interesting to me. I will see that. So Salma has asked, what should I do if I have many goals and I can't give up any of them because I love them all, but they all need a lot of time and effort. It's like I don't know what I want to do clearly, so I'm trying everything comes in my way. So Salma, this is a thing that I won't ask you to stop. If you like some things, you shall explore all of them, but you shall explore things to the limit that they do not affect the important things you have need to do. Okay, so for all these things which you think you want to do, you can keep it in the second column in the Eisenhower matrix. For example, these are important because you like them, but these are not urgent. So first try to do those things which are important as well as urgent. Even in these things, how you can do it better now? You need to prioritize things. In life there will be a lot of things that you will like, but if you do not learn how to prioritize between them, you won't be able to do all of them. Okay, so to do them in the best possible way, what you can do is you shall prioritize them in a way that you eliminate the things which are not as interesting to you as another thing which might be more interesting to you. Okay, so this will help you. So Dimna, if time we have time, you can ask another question. You can see it on your list.
Yeah, we can answer another question for
Okay.
sure.
So I will just see.
There's one question from Abdel Rahman. I'll just put it in the main chat. One second. Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. So Abdul has asked, I'm playing a rapid chess game. You have to distribute your time so perfectly in order to not missing any second. And I played my last competition badly. However, I am a good player. So my question is how to prevent the stress of the time. You know, chess is a very complicated thing, and there could not be a general answer for it. It is by practice that you will learn how to manage that stress in the game. It is a part of the game. It is not a part of normal life. In the normal life, if you get stressed, what you can do is you can plan things ahead of the deadlines, and then you can do things in order to make sure that you do not have any task pending towards the last moment. But when we are playing a game like chess, what we need to do is, like, we need to think in the real time, and we do not have a lot of time to plan our things on. We have to do things in the moment. So in that particular thing, what you can do is, like, you could not play your last game badly. So what you should do is you should try to make sure that in the next game you remember what mistake you did. You should analyze the last game that you just played. You should see where you went wrong. It might have, in the game of chess, there is a point where you go wrong and things start falling in the opponent's side from that particular time. So you should analyze your game and see where you went wrong. And since you played regularly, I guess, then you will be able to analyze it very well. And then you can see how you could improve it in the next game. So this is the thing that you can do. You shall just analyze your game and then make sure you do not repeat the same mistake in the next. And don't take a stress. It's just a game.
Okay, guys, if we have no more questions, then I think we can wind up the session. I'll just have. I think the last question, Harsh, can be. Fatima said, "I always postpone my assignments. This makes me a bad
Okay.
joke. What's the solution?"
Let me just see. Who asked this? Fatima. Okay. I
Fatima.
always postpone my assignment. This makes me a bad show. What's the solution? Uh, this is the most interesting question I see. There is no problem in postponing things which are not as important, but assignments are something which I think are important for you to do. So, what you can do is, suppose you have a deadline on Sunday and we are running, for example, Tuesday. You shall see what the benefits if you do the assignment on Wednesday. If you leave your assignment for the last moment, what will happen? The, Especially in the case of assignment, if you do them at the last moment, you won't be able to learn properly. The essence of assignment is lost. Assignments are made to teach you something. It might be a small thing, but they teach you. So if you push them towards the last moment, you might not be able to learn as much. Yeah, there are some assignments in which you just have to do it for the sake of doing it and you don't learn anything. You can push those assignments toward the end, but most of the assignment you should try to do it. You should start it from the day you get it, or you can make a plan. Like, if you have got an assignment on Tuesday and you have a deadline on Sunday, you shall see that if you see that you have time on Wednesday, try to do it. And you should do, you should treat pseudo deadlines. If you have a deadline on Sunday, don't tell yourself that you have a deadline on Sunday. Just think that you have a deadline on Thursday and try to wrap up things by Thursday. And in this way, when you create pseudo deadlines, you will be able to do things in time. Okay. And while doing so, while making pseudo deadlines, what you can do is, for example, you have an assignment to do on by Sunday, and you just made a pseudo deadline by Thursday. So make sure you do not think that you have enough time on Friday and Saturday. What you can do is you can assign tasks for Friday and Saturday as well. That will make you think that you cannot push it any further. So that will make you do things by the time that you just made the pseudo deadline. I hope I answered your question. And if someone has any other question, just you can just ask, or then we will end the session. As I think most of the questions are answered.
Yeah, I think most of the questions are answered to our topic.